Plagiarism. We've all heard this scary word before, especially in our syllabi and classrooms. But what is plagiarism exactly? How do you define it? Plagiarism is simply using someone else's work and claiming it as your own without giving them any credit. This includes all types of works from books, journal articles, photos, and more. If you borrow any ideas, you must give credit to the source. Still not sure what plagiarism is?
Oh.
Here's a story about Marcia and Jan writing a research paper.
Being the studious student that I am, I started my health paper 2 months early and spent countless hours at the library finding sources. My paper included in-text citations and a reference page. My hard work paid off and I received an A+ on my paper.
I hate school. I just want to walk my dogs and gossip on all the latest social media. I'm so busy twittering, I forgot all about this paper. Ugh, this is frustrating. Hey, wait! Marcia wrote a similar paper. Let me just use that. She won't even notice. Hashtag Marcia, Marcia, Marcia.
Did Marcia plagiarize?
No!
Did Jan plagiarize?
Yes!
Jan, you're just not you when you plagiarize. Why is this a concern? It's not your work, thoughts, or ideas. You're only cheating yourself out of learning and growing. It is also dishonest. You are not giving credit where credit is due. There are legal ramifications if you plagiarize, and students can be suspended or expelled. So now that we know what plagiarism is, let's talk about common myths on this topic. Some of these myths can seem obvious, but others may have you scratching your head.
Myth 1. Self-plagiarism is when you try to pass off your own previous work as new work, like by changing the date on a paper. But you need to give credit to yourself too, you know?
Myth 2. It's not uncommon for people to copy and paste photos and videos into PowerPoint presentations and not give any credit to the source. Wrong.
Myth 3. In-text citations are not sufficient. If you include a source in the reference page, it must be cited within your manuscript, and vice versa.
Myth 4. The percentage Turnitin generates for your paper does not determine plagiarism. It detects similarity. So although your paper may only be 20% similar, if that text is not properly cited, you may be in trouble.
Myth 5. Plagiarism isn't just a concern while you're in the classroom, but it can occur once you're out in the professional world as well.
Myth 6. Plagiarism isn't always intentional. If someone isn't proficient with citing sources in the appropriate referencing style, they may unintentionally plagiarize.
Myth 7. Although APA explains a way to cite block quotations, it is recommended you paraphrase others' ideas into your own words to the best of your ability.
Well, now that you know some general myths about plagiarism, we also want to educate you on legal ramifications. Let's think about Jan.
What's gonna happen to her?
Is she going to fail the paper or the class?
Get suspended or expelled?
At WSSU, plagiarism is an act of academic dishonesty and could result in suspension or dismissal. Uh-oh, poor Jan. WSSU graduate school research projects must be in APA format, and any student who commits an act of plagiarism, including a first offense, shall be penalized based on their infraction.
If plagiarism occurs, it goes from your instructor to the department chair and then to the dean, who then determines the penalty. The final decision is made by the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs.
Some plagiarism penalties include a letter of reprimand from the dean, a lower grade or even an F for the assignment, class, or both, suspension for 1 semester or part of a semester, and worse, you could be expelled or withdrawn from the university.
Here are some tips to help avoid plagiarism. Start your research early to avoid sloppy work. Keep notes of all your sources as you go. And if you're confused, the library and writing center are great resources.
Don't just change words around to paraphrase. You must put it in your own words. Cite everything you've learned throughout your research process. It's always better to be safe than sorry. And always use the correct writing style required by your department.
So now that we know everything about plagiarism, Jan should now be able to properly write her paper.
Jan, you're just not you when you plagiarize. Now isn't that better, Jan?
Much better.
And what would a video about plagiarism be without a reference list?
Created using Powtoon.